Well, in the feature segment today, we look back at the year 2011 in Mississippi agriculture. For the second year in a row, Mississippi farmers set a new record for farm production value. 2011 will be remembered, however, for the tornadoes that struck the state in April. It was a year of extremes. April 27th will be indelibly stamped on the memories of Mississippi and other southern states hit by the 2011 super tornado outbreak. More than 320 people died, 37 in Mississippi. 22 of those were killed in the town of Smithville, Mississippi. All in all, lives were lost in 12 Mississippi counties that day. Earlier that month, on April 15th, a Leakesville woman also lost her life to a tornado. Weather was also the focus of another major story in 2011. In early May, the Mississippi River flooded due to melting snow and rain. The river levels surpassed the record set in 1927 at Natchez and Vicksburg. It's estimated the flow rate at Vicksburg exceeded that of the 27 flood as well. The Mississippi River levee system was tested to its limits.
And it was designed for this level of flood, but we never really expected to get this much water into the system. And certainly this is an epic, immense amount of water.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers laid 4 miles of heavy-duty plastic along a critical part of the Yazoo River backwater levee. It was predicted the water would flow over the top of the levee, but fortunately it did not. Meanwhile, some row crop farms and catfish farms did go underwater as the Mississippi River backed up the Yazoo River. A lot of wheat was harvested as water came into the fields.
There's about a foot of water in this field in the bottoms where at about 11:30 this morning it wasn't, and it's about, 3:30 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, so it's coming up fast. Probably right where we're standing in another 3 or 4 hours, we'll probably be standing in water. We've got, most of our operation is on the inside of the river side of the levee, and a lot of it is underwater now.
While the backwater flooding caused some Mississippi Delta farmers to replant, 2011 still proved to be a record-breaking year. Mississippi farmers posted record-high farm production value in 2011, almost $6.7 billion, up 8% from the previous year. When you include $357 million in federal government payments, that figure goes over $7 billion for the first time in history. Poultry remained Mississippi's #1 agricultural commodity in spite of the fact many companies cut back on their production. $2.44 billion in farm production value was produced, up 0.2% from 2010. Mississippi forestry was second, down 0.4% to $1.035 billion. Soybeans third, $860 million produced in 2011, up almost 2% from 2010. Mississippi's cotton acreage jumped 50% in 2011, which helped it to grab fourth in farm production value, with $599 million in lint and cottonseed production. Corn came in fifth at $595 million, up 42% from the previous year. Farm-raised catfish came in sixth, $222 million, up 2% from 2010. Seventh, cattle and calves, $155 million worth were grown in Mississippi in 2011. Rice acreage declined 48% from last year, helping place it at eighth in production value, $153 million. Hay came in ninth at $138 million. The largest winter wheat acreage in 3 years pushed wheat into 10th place in farm production value with $127 million.
I owe you so much gratitude for supporting me throughout the years in my Senate initiatives, and then now as I go into serving the office of Commissioner of Agriculture and Commerce of this great state.
2011 was a state election year. The retirement of Mississippi Ag Commissioner Lester Spell after serving 4 terms meant a wide-open race to replace him. Republican State Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith of Brookhaven became Mississippi's first woman agriculture commissioner. Hyde-Smith had served previously as chairwoman of the Mississippi Senate Ag Committee, and her family operates a cattle sale barn. She defeated Democrat Joel Gill. Gill is the mayor of Pickens, runs a cattle order buying company, and serves as a national officer with the Ranchers Cattlemen Action Legal Fund. Kathy L. Toole of Biloxi was the Reform Party candidate.
Today is the first opportunity that so many of us have had a chance to get together and share and celebrate the overwhelming passage of Initiative 31, the eminent domain referendum.
After several years of trying to pass eminent domain reform through the Mississippi legislature, the Mississippi Farm Bureau led the effort to gather the signatures necessary to place it on the ballot as an initiative. The initiative seeks to keep state and local governments from taking private property and turning it over to private companies for private development. Even though it was opposed by several state officials, Initiative 31 struck a chord with Mississippi voters who passed it overwhelmingly, 73% to 27%.
It goes so much further than just the initiative and Initiative 31 and protecting private property rights. I think it just makes a huge statement to everyone out there how strong our numbers are and how strong the rural vote and the ag vote in the rural community is. You know, even the governor-elect came out and said, you know, I really didn't realize how strong Farm Bureau was and how strong the rural and ag vote was in this state.
The decline in Mississippi's catfish pond acreage was illustrated clearly in February when processors of farm-raised catfish announced they would either lay off employees or cut back on their hours. Processing plants normally buy a lot of catfish in the early part of the year, preparing for the season of Lent prior to Easter. Farmers did not have enough fish left in their ponds to keep processors going until the spring wave of new crop catfish was ready to seine in June. Mississippi catfish pond acreage dropped 8% in 2011 to 51,200 acres. Competition from foreign imports and the high price of corn and soybeans are blamed for the decline. In September, Mississippi's abundant supplies of softwood fiber attracted another second-generation biofuel producer to the state. The wood fiber, along with $100 million in incentives from the state of Mississippi, convinced HCL Clean Tech to locate here. The company plans to spend $1 billion to build 5 facilities in Mississippi in the next 8 years. They will be located in Olive Branch, Grenada, Booneville, Natchez, and Hattiesburg. The cattle herd in Mississippi multiplied in 2011. The number of all cattle and calves moved up 50,000 to 950,000. That's a 5% increase. Looking at row crop acreage in Mississippi in 2011, soybeans came in first with just over 1.8 million acres planted. The state's farmers harvested a total crop of 70.2 million bushels, with a statewide average yield of 39 bushels per acre. 810,000 acres of corn were planted in Mississippi in 2011. A total crop of almost 95 million bushels was harvested, the third largest crop on record. 630,000 acres of cotton were planted in Mississippi in 2011, up 50% from the year before. The state average yield was 968 pounds per acre, the third highest on record. Mississippi farmers planted 360,000 acres of wheat. They harvested more than 21 million bushels with a state average record yield of 64 bushels per acre. Mississippi rice acreage was off 48%, down to 160,000 acres. Consequently, the total crop was off 48% at almost 11 million hundredweight. Mississippi sweet potato farmers harvested their largest crop in modern times, more than 4.1 million hundredweight. The yield was a record 181 hundredweight per acre. Planted acreage was another modern times record, 24,000. More potatoes, however, meant lower prices with a production value off 10%. Mississippi peanut acreage dropped 4,000 to 15,000 acres. 4,000 pounds were harvested per acre, a new state average record. This yield, combined with higher peanut prices, offset the reduced acreage.
And you can watch this story again reviewing 2011 in Mississippi agriculture on our Farm Week website, Facebook page, or YouTube. The website address is farmweek.msucares.com. So Leighton, as you think about it, we drive around, I see more storm shelters in the state, don't you? People
Absolutely.
installing storm shelters. Of course, in the old days, they called them storm pits, and every house had one. And we got away from that. Now that seems to be coming back as they're
But you said it best. It was a year of extremes when we talk about that weather.
Fortunately, we didn't see those tornadoes this year.